guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Seporia, and let me just kind of let you guys know something just really quickly before I go into the actual video. So when I first started my channel, the name of the channel was Miss Ciara Glam, and that's because I thought that I wanted to do beauty videos. Like, I know I wanted it to be a lifestyle channel, but then I also wanted to incorporate beauty videos. And at the time, I only had one child, and yeah. And so now I have 2 kids, and I barely have time to even wake up and like brush my teeth and wash my face. And so I don't really want to do the beauty aspect of it anymore. And so that's why I changed the name to my channel to Seporia D. So Seporia is my first name, and D, that is my middle initial. So I just thought that I kind of get that out of the way. So if you guys are new to my channel, please do consider subscribing. And if you are already subscribed, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing my birth comparison / like pregnancy comparison video. So I do have a 2-year-old daughter. Her name is Zoe. And I have a 5-month-old son named Giovanni. And my births were so completely different. Let me just tell you. With my daughter, she was my first pregnancy. And so I did have some complications with her. I ended up developing this condition called preeclampsia. And I'll probably do like a preeclampsia pregnancy video where I just go like more into detail about what preeclampsia is and how I was diagnosed with preeclampsia. So just to kind of make like a long story short, with preeclampsia, I ended up getting very high blood pressure. My feet were like extremely swollen, hands were swollen. And so, yeah, I did have a little bit of complications with my pregnancy with my daughter. Now with my son, I had no complications. There were no signs of preeclampsia with him. So my doctor made sure to monitor me very well, because I did end up getting preeclampsia with my daughter. So with my son, like, she was watching me like a hawk. And I do have my little one. He is here in the room with me. This is like my second time trying to record this video. So the first time he was taking a nap, but we're gonna get through it. And so yeah, with my son, I did not have any signs of preeclampsia. So it's pretty much like, as my doctor called it, a boring pregnancy. And so let's skip right into the labor. With my daughter, I ended up having her 35 weeks. So she was 5 weeks early. With my son, I had him just 1 week early. So I had him at week 39. With my daughter, I got admitted to the hospital. And so my blood pressure had got to a point where my doctor was like, you know what, no, your blood pressure is just way too high. And so just to make sure that, you know, I was okay and that the baby was going to be okay, she was pretty much like, you're going to be admitted to the hospital and you're going to stay in the hospital until you deliver her. So I'm going to go into like the labor part with my daughter. So I'm in the hospital, pretty much just having to be on bed rest with her until I had her. So on day 3 of me being in the hospital, my doctor had just got to a point where she was like, you know what? I think that we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the decision to go ahead and induce you, because, you know, we don't want to put your health in jeopardy. We definitely don't want to put the baby's health in jeopardy. And so she was getting everything ready to induce me. And so, you know, she checks me to see if I had dilated. And I think when she checked me, I was 3 or either 4 centimeters already dilated. And she was like, wow, like, you're dilating. Are you not feeling the contractions? Are you not feeling any pain? She was like, most women that are like at 3 or 4 centimeters dilated, they're like in here crying, or, you know, they're feeling something to let us know, you know, that they're dilating. And I was like, no, I'm not really feeling any pain. I was having a lot of those Braxton Hicks contractions, which are not like the actual contractions. They are contractions. Like, they are the type of contractions that are kind of like preparing your body for like the real contractions. And so it's basically where you feel like this tightening and like letting go, tightening and letting go of your uterus, but they're not really painful. And so at that point, that's the only thing that I was like really feeling with her. I remember like the night before they were going to try to induce me, like I was just like extremely uncomfortable. I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't like find the right position that I wanted to lay in. So I remember just feeling like extremely uncomfortable, but there was never any pain. And so, like I said, they were going to make the decision to induce me, but because I was already dilating, the doctor was like, well, you know what, we're going to go ahead, we're going to get you into labor and delivery, and we're going to kind of like let you hang out, monitor you, and just see, you know, if we want to go ahead and put you on Pitocin, or we're just going to see what your body's going to do. So they give me to labor and delivery, and, you know, we're hanging out, and then the nurse kind of mentions, hey, you know, are you going to want to get an epidural? And at this point, my mom was in the room, my husband was in the room, and then I was thinking, you know what, yeah, I do want to get an epidural, because at that point, like, I wasn't really feeling contractions, I wasn't really having any pain, but I didn't want to start feeling any pain. And that is Mrs. Zoe. She's also in the room. And so hopefully we can get through this video. So yeah, I went ahead and opted to get the epidural because, like I said, I wasn't feeling any pain, but then I didn't want to feel any pain because, like, I was like watching all kind of YouTube videos of these ladies having these like experiences where they were trying to deliver naturally, and they were just like in the most like unbearable pain of like their lives, and I was scared, and I was like, oh, no. Like, I don't want to feel no pain. And so and I think like my mom was like, oh, no, she doesn't want the epidural, she's fine, she's not in any pain, she'll be okay. Because like my mom, she didn't have an epidural with me, and she didn't have an epidural with my sister. And I was like, epidural please. And I might, if I must say, like, I had the best experience with getting the epidural. So I didn't have any problems. And my anesthesiologist, he was like beyond wonderful. So yeah, very positive experience with the epidural. The only thing I will say with me, with my daughter, when I was actually like going into labor with her, and it was time for me to push, I pushed for a very long time. Like, in my head, it felt like I pushed for 4 or 5 hours, and I want to say I pushed for that long, but then it's like, who pushes for 4 or 5 hours? Maybe I pushed, I don't know, maybe it was just an hour that I pushed, but I remember pushing for like an extremely long time with her. Fast forward to my son, with him, and then just give me 1 second. With him, I remember I was at home and I was feeling the Braxton Hicks contractions, but they felt a little bit different. Like, the whole thing for me was, I guess I hyped it up to be like so horrible, or like the pain to be so horrible that, so I felt like I was saying, I think I wanted to get an epidural with my son is because I hyped up the pain to be like so much more horrible than what it was. Because, you know, everybody would tell me like, you know, contractions, they're like 10 times worse as like your worst period cramp. And so I was like, well, they ain't period cramps, they hurt. And so I was like, yeah, I want to get an epidural. Like, I don't want to be going through that pain if I don't have to go through that pain. But to make a really long story short, with my son, I remember I was at home and I was having like the Braxton Hicks contractions, and I remember calling my sister, And I was like, hey, you know, my contractions, they're like every 10 minutes apart. I'm like, when do you think would be a good time for me to go ahead and go to the doctor? And she was like, oh, well, you'll know, like your body will know, you know, they'll be so unbearable, like you won't be able to take it anymore. And so I think I just got like to a point where I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and let's just go to the hospital just to be on the safe side. Y'all, if I tell you, as soon as I made it to the hospital, like I was already at the point where I was ready to push him out. Like I had got to the little triage part of the hospital. Basically, it's like where they have to check you in or whatever. So I get there, and I'm sorry for all of the background noise. My daughter, she's playing with little ornaments. Like I said, I was trying to do this video while they were taking a nap, but it didn't work out. So anyways, I get to like the little triage part of the hospital, and the nurse or the person behind the desk, you know, she's getting my information. She's asking me like, how many centimeters are you apart? And I think at that point, like no lie, I had to be like 2 or 3 centimeters. She was asking me how far apart my contractions were. So I think at that point, I was like maybe 2 to 3 minutes. And why I waited that long? Well, this is the reason why. The reason why I waited so long is because I was waiting for them to get really unbearable. But then when I noticed that we're getting a little closer together, I went ahead and we opted just to go ahead and go to the hospital. So she's like, oh, okay, we'll go to the restroom. I'm going to need to get like a urine sample. Why she needed to get a urine sample, I have no idea, especially when I told her like my contractions were 2 to 3 minutes. Well, yeah, the contractions were 2 or 3 minutes apart. Why she said go to the restroom and get a urine sample, I have no idea. Maybe that's just routine. Zoe. Shh. And so as soon as I go to the restroom, you know, I do my business. As soon as I get up, like I just had this intense urge to like just push the baby out. And so to make a long story short, they had to hurry up, rush me into labor and delivery. I didn't even get a chance to put the hospital gown on. Like I went into the hospital with a dress and they were like, you're just gonna have to put the dress over your head. We're gonna have to hurry up, put the IVs and everything in. And I do remember asking the nurse, I was like, well, can I go ahead and get my epidural now? And she was like, honey, like, no, like you waited way too long. Like you can't have an epidural. You're gonna have to push the baby out naturally. And so I think at that point, like I was just like in sheer panic. Like, I don't know how to push the baby out. And she was like, you got this. Your body is made for this. So I had really good nurses. The doctor, she was really good. Like they all like kind of helped me through it. And so I think I had got to a point where I was like, either I was just like really tired. And then the pain was getting like a little bit more intense. And so she was like, well, if you're hurting, she's like, you can't get an epidural, but I can give you a shot that can help numb the pain, like just a little bit. And I just remember saying, you know what? I've come this far. I've already been doing all this pushing. No, I don't want the shot. Let's just go ahead and do this. And so I pushed him out with no pain medication, no Tylenol, no nothing. And so those experiences, you know, complete night and day. Also with my daughter, she did have to spend a few days in the NICU. With my son, he did not have to stay in the NICU. And then with my daughter, I stayed in the hospital with her for about a week. With my son, I stayed in the hospital 3-4 days tops. And that's just because my blood pressure was starting to get just a little bit high in the beginning, a little bit high like after I had delivered him. And so, yeah, two totally different labors, 2 totally different births, but I'm so blessed to have experienced, you know, both of them, and I'm so blessed to have 2 beautiful children. And yeah, if you guys love these type of videos, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. And I am so sorry for the background noise, but like I say, #MomLife. I have to get these videos in when I can. So yeah, bye guys.